Okay, we're live in the woods, and I've got surprise guests tonight. My son Elijah, he's there on the side. Hello, everybody. We're at our camp here in let's see, southern Hughes County, right on the Fulton County border. And actually, Elijah's in the same campsite as I am. He's going to help out with anybody answering questions. If I miss them, he'll catch them himself. So looks like we got a pretty good crowd tonight. 13 already. We just started. Let's look through here. Got Cashew. Hello, Cashew. That's our wonderful moderator that keeps the internet safe and fun for everybody. Hello, Sharon, Leanne, Colossus, Amon, Chris, Mel, Cashew, Gary Spot Senior. I saw you on a Bigfoot Odyssey earlier. And let's see who else. Squatching Cowboy. Hey, is it as hot down there in Texas as it is up here? It has been extremely hot and muggy. So let's see what we got here. So there's David Perkins. How you doing, friend? And Kansas Squatch. Andy Babb. How you doing, Andy? Good to see everybody. So here's the plan for tonight. We're going to do this live stream for a while, and I got last time I did this, my battery went dead on my phone before I could finish it, and it kind of looked like something might have got me. But I've got my little power pack here. I've got my phone plugged into, so maybe that'll keep my phone alive longer. Somebody said hello to you.
Hello.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Elijah, ever since he was a little boy, which seems like only yesterday, but he just turned 26 this month, and that doesn't seem right. And I remember, how old were you, Elijah, when I took you out in the field doing this, like 4?
Yeah.
You know? And contrary to popular belief, I was not using him for bait. He was safe the whole time. So I'm going to turn my phone around here and give you a little view of camp. Right there is our camp, and we're pretty deep in the woods here. The property that I'm on, this is my family's property, and this is part of the property that's been in my family since, I don't remember, the 30s or 40s, very long time. And this is down in a valley. This is a pretty long valley, and people can't come down here. Okay, there's a locked gate on one end and a locked gate on the other. Somebody else owns the property on a couple of miles to the north of us, and we own this to the south. So anything wanting to hide down here could do it very easily. And there has been Bigfoot sightings down here in the past. This valley is kind of known as a haunted place. I don't mean haunted as far as ghosts. I mean haunted as far as just strange activity. There's a Bigfoot sighting down here back when I was a young teenager. And back then, there was no somebody come down. And so people down after dark and shined their car lights into the woods where they heard something and saw a Sasquatch in the woods looking back at them, and they evacuated the area. If you go north of me about 4 miles, 3 to 4 miles as a crow flies, you hit the South Canadian River. Bigfoot sightings along there. One from about 15 years ago, 15 or 20, time flies. A friend of our family had some people working on fence for him in those river bottoms there, and one of the men was repairing the fence and looked up to see a reddish brown colored Sasquatch in the brush staring at him, and he did not finish the fence there. Elijah, you want to say anything?
Not right off.
I don't know if you can see what Elijah's doing, but Elijah's favorite thing about camping is building the fire, and he's down there working on the campfire. I'm I've put a little bit of distance between us because when we're close, our voices kind of slap back at each other and have a little delay. So anyhow, that's what he's doing. So later tonight we've got a camera with night vision on it. I just about tripped over a vine with night vision on it. We're going to go on a night hike through these hills. I don't know if you see that, but this is really steep east of camp. And if you keep following this, it gets oh, hey, Mid-South, how you doing? Hey, Zach Squatch. Yeah, Zach, he did not finish the fence. Matter of fact, he refused to go back down there. Even though the Sasquatch didn't do anything mean or aggressive, I mean, that still can be pretty unnerving. Let's see. Who all is in here? Strange Land, how you doing? Mid-South. But yeah, we're just gonna what I do, what I always do on these camps. I camp out, pay attention, listen. On that, hey Elijah, hold up that parabolic microphone there and show them. And this was what Mark from the Livewire channel gave to me about a year and a half ago. But the way that he got one of the inexpensive parabolic microphones from, I guess, Amazon, and they have a very small dish with them, so they're don't do so much. But he took a squirrel bag. If you don't know what that is, that's what you put out your bird feeder, keep climbing, and put that in place of that tiny little dish, and it makes that thing really reach out. And you can aim that into the woods, and you'll hear stuff that, well, some people may not want to hear. But anyway, we want to hear it. Do you hear that, Elijah?
Yeah.
You hear that over there? That's a tree frog. But anyway, and Mark, he donated that to me to use out here, and it's been extremely useful. And hopefully we get some use out of that tonight. But I don't know if you can see around me here. Hey, can anybody tell me, is my picture good or is it really pixelated? Y'all let me know that. Because let's see, yesterday early, I did a little teaser for this, and my picture was pretty pixelated. Okay, great, Andy, it's clear. So I'm trying to move a little slower, but little choppy, David. Okay, I'll try to move slower. So lagging a little. Okay. Hey, Sky I said you're VHS quality. You know, back in the '80s, that would have been a compliment. So I'll take it. But anyway, we're generally where I go a lot of time down in the Kiamichi Mountains, there's no cell phone signal. I couldn't even attempt to do this. So Andy, if I'm still, is it clear? So, but anyway, when we go to the Kiamichi Mountains, it's all pre-recorded because there's no cell phone signal to do anything like this. So Elijah, you got the best camera. See, but here's the deal, Elijah. What kind of phone have you got?
iPhone 11.
Yeah, I've got a Motorola. So he's got the so anyway, so I'm trying to be still. So the sun is just going down over the west ridge there, so it's going to start getting really dark really quick. Last time I camped down here, I believe it was either late February or early March of this year, and in one of these tall trees in camp, a really big great horned owl landed in the tree and started carrying on. And if you've ever heard one of those, they can make a sound to just a hoot, like you think of when you think of an owl, or they can get rowdy and sound like an angry chimpanzee. And I've actually heard people mistakenly think that's a Sasquatch, but an owls can make some pretty hideous noises when they want to. But once it gets darker, I'm sure we'll have see some deer, maybe a fox or two. Coyotes are thick down here. And one thing I want to watch out for is there is a mountain lion in this area. It's been sighted a couple of times by our neighbors. So, what is it?
Little copperhead.
Really?
Right there.
Okay. I think we've got a venomous snake here. So,
Just back up in there. He was crawling that way.
Okay. Of course, I'm going to go look. I'm not seeing him now, Elijah.
Little brown.
Okay. Well, I better get my light. As long as it's going the other way, that's all right. What do I do with my flashlight? There. Yeah, see, I'm wearing a high top boot, and Elijah's wearing hiking sandals. Well, he must have vacated the. He should. Oh, there he is. I'm going to try to show you this baby copperhead without getting bit. Can y'all see that little guy? Yeah. Little copperhead. Don't want to get bit by that little guy. So, oh, okay. I'm going to try to get that copperhead there. Can y'all see him? Can y'all see him? Yeah. So anyway, we don't want to get him as long as he's going the other direction. We'll be all right. We'll be all right. Let me get a stick and move him out. I got to get that little copperhead out of camp before we inadvertently step on him.
Dad, use my phone so you can get a better picture.
What? Okay, let me see your phone. I'll switch me phones here. Oh, okay. All right, see that little copperhead? That's the most common pit viper around here. Let's see. Whoop, there he goes. Not towards the tent. Go on. Well, not toward camp. Yeah, he crawled under a log. Here we go. That's why. That's why. A lot of those little critters. Were you guys able to see the copperhead? Elijah, you might want your boots. Maybe I'm going to go back further up the ridge, away from Elijah there, so my signal's not. Seems like if I'm higher up the ridge, I'm less pixelated. So, David, if you kill it, I won't be offended. David, I honestly, unless I'm being attacked by an animal or I'm going to eat it, I don't kill a thing. And I've got an understanding with the copperheads and such as that. I don't step on them and they don't bite me. So I just try to make it go out of camp where he's not amongst us, because we don't want to get bit. Of course, we'll have the fire going, but yeah, we are, we're in the thick woods, and I'm going to let you see around me here. there's a lot of underbrush and stuff, and I mean, copperhead, like I say, that's the most common pit viper down here. There is the pyromedic. I would take a stick and sling it across the creek at least. My luck, it would land on my head. You know? Yeah, you wouldn't want that to happen. Um, Now, here's the deal: if a copperhead bites you, you're probably not going to die. I have been slightly envenomated by a copperhead before, and it wasn't because it bit me. Um, I was milking the copperhead and had its fangs over a glass to, milk the venom out of it. And I had forgotten that I had a pretty deep cut on my thumb, and some of the venom ran down into that cut. And it honestly, what it felt like to me is like if you ever got battery acid on the thin part of your arm or skin. It kind of felt like that. So anyway, how would a squatch taste in barbecue sauce? Eugene, you'll have to let me know. But yeah, pyro, I was gonna sling it out of camp there, but it went under a log, so I'll just keep my eye open for it. Um, hey Elijah, where you going? I've got the combat boots, the SWAT boots here in camp. If you get those, put those on. Um, but yeah, it'll be dark real quick now, so we'll see what goes on. Yeah, Pyro, he may be looking for warmth later. I know it's pretty hot down here. I imagine he'll be out looking for uh, small lizards or mice. And he's a real bitty guy, so he'll be. And they eat insects too. Copperheads, they're kind of an equal opportunity employer. And yeah, I think I pretty much know everybody I'm seeing in the chat, but if you haven't already, as Cashew said, my book, Kiamichi Bigfoot Investigating the Oklahoma Sasquatch, that is available on Amazon, as well as my first book, The Shampe, which the Shampe is a fictional story about a monster in a native Choctaw legend called the Shampe, which was a cannibal giant. So anyway, those books are both available on Amazon. If you want to support this channel, that's a good way to do it. you know. Uh, Now, where we're camping at now, like I say, it's not far from home, and with gas $4 a gallon, um, this isn't nearly as expensive to drive to. But yeah, Ruger Ridge, please, every living creature should be cared for, except copperheads. Well, with copperheads, you definitely got to take care that you don't step on them. Hey, there's the original Brian Gillen. You know who that is, Elijah? Brian, the guy that takes guitar lessons from Steve, the Weird Al Yankovic fan. Yeah, how you doing, Brian? Glad you could make it. Yeah, Brian, he's a local friend of mine. He has been uh, taking guitar lessons at my shop for a few years now. Pretty good guitar player. Good to see you here, Brian. Um, and thanks, David. I appreciate that. Who asked that? Why don't you address it? I missed a question here. Elijah caught it. Come back on and answer that. Said somebody asked a question about if I think Sasquatch looks at us. Like, have to find it here. I'm not seeing that question.
I guess I lost it. But the question: do we think that the Bigfoot that was watching the kids watch it like the same way that we would watch a baby animal? I think it stands to reason. Like if they are real and they're out here, then and they are looking at us, there's probably a lot of curiosity. There's not a whole lot of any interaction really. So
Okay. Yeah, I think of them as, curious. Um, I don't come out in the woods worried about Sasquatch doing something mean to me. And I've said it before. If Sasquatch, and I'm speaking generally, are out to get people, they're not very good at it. Or I think that there'd be a lot more credible stories about it. And when people talk about, and again, this is just my thoughts. Feel free to disagree and uh, tell me why if you want to. Elijah, Tammy caught you. You said if they're real. Yeah, he hasn't seen one himself, so he's a hopeful skeptic, but I think he leans toward it. But what was I saying? Um, yeah, most the biggest percentage of Bigfoot sightings, the Bigfoot is going the other direction or watching and then goes the other direction. And what some people call aggression, I think there's a big difference in aggression and defensiveness because a lot of the Sasquatch aggression that I've heard about was preceded by someone shooting or shooting at them. So um, I imagine it'd be about like anything else. There's some potentially bad, some not. Um, anyway, but I think for the biggest part, um, they're just curious. But I think they're smart enough to know that contact with us it would not be good for them. Let's see. Anybody have any question for Elijah while we got him on here? The last time that Elijah was in the field with us was the March before last when Cornell from the Next Phone podcast came to Oklahoma, and um, we all went down to the Kiamichi Mountains together. Now, we had, if y'all um, seen the documentary, we had some very interesting things happening during the night, including whatever come down and stood beside Cornell's tent that really got his attention. We were hearing wood knocks, rock clacks, whoops. I mean, if it wasn't a Bigfoot, I don't know what else it could have been. Let's see. But if anybody has a question for Elijah, now's a good time while we got him on here. Sharon Bartlett, is there still an open season on Sasquatch in Oklahoma? Uh, that trapping season, that's the most ridiculously silly thing that I gotta watch my mouth here. Some idiot politician come up with. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Get a bunch of people that probably a lot of them not even woodsmen at all out in the woods building. I mean, there's not even a limit on the traps. I mean, what are they going to do? Dig a hole with punji sticks in the bottom of it? I mean, as soon as that came out, I'm like, now what could possibly go wrong? Sarcasm intended. And I'm just surprised that somebody hadn't got hurt uh, doing that. Luckily, nobody that I know of has. Did Elijah bring the thermal tonight? Don't No, David. We don't have a thermal. That's the deal. That's on my to-do list. There, sell enough books and whatever, and I want to invest in it. I would like to get a thermal. Um, let's see. Uh, yeah, Tammy, he's putting the boots on. So, Elijah, what was your first encounter? And
I think the first one that I thought there was anything too was we were doing a research thing with you. There was a big group of you guys that were going out in the woods, and me, mom, and then Summer, and one of the other guys' wives. We stayed in the cars, And I remember just about the time that y'all had got far enough in the woods that we couldn't see your lights or anything anymore. Uh, the car started freaking out. Like the locks, the car was off, but the locks started going up and down, and the dashboard started flashing. And that was kind of freaky. I didn't really know anything about what was going on at the time. I must have been 4 or 5.
Yeah, you'd have been. Yeah, you would have been 5 because that was about the time you're supposed to start kindergarten. That's how long ago it was. Now, what Elijah's talking about, that was the uh, time we were in. I was investigating what later became known as the casino footage, and the incident he's talking about was very strange. We were in this patch of woods. There were some other guys, and there was something large uh, pacing out in the woods. My daughter was very young then, and she was crying. So something it got her its attention, whatever. And it was out in the wood line. We never did see it, and I don't know what this has to do with any of it. But the locks on the electric locks on our SUV started locking and unlocking it like a machine gun pace, just da 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 da. What that? What if anything that had to do with the Sasquatch thing? I don't know. I've never had anything like that happen again, but it did happen. So take it for what it is. What food sources are in the uh, area this time of year where you're camping? Gosh, lots of them. I mean, if the Bigfoot will eat snakes, there's a lot of copperheads around here, and that was a baby one, so I'm sure there's more where he came from. Um, let's see, deer, abundant deer on the way driving down here. Just a few hundred yards south of us, there were 6 turkeys took off in front of us. I mean, there's a lot of different food sources. There's a lot of wild here. Roger, you got another question there from Mel.
Um,
David, it was not vision. Mel Gillum asked, "What does your heart say about Sasquatch, Elijah?
what does my heart say about it?
Do you want it to be real, or are you impartial?"
I mean, I think it'd be cool if it was real. It kind of reaffirms the point that we don't know nearly enough about what's in our like on our own planet. You know, oceans and forests and whatever. It kind of keeps the adventure going.
So,
So I'd
so you,
I'd say
go ahead.
hopeful.
So, Elijah, I'm going to ask something. What do you make of all the whoops and the wood knocks and what Cornell witnessed year before last down the Kiamichi Mountains? What else do you think that could have been?
Well, that was the thing was whenever we got up to like whenever Cornell woke up, we were trying to go down the list of things it could have been. That was around his tent, and it just didn't add up. Like if it was a bear, why wouldn't it have messed with any of our food or anything like that? As much as or as long as he said it was pacing around his tent. And then we get up and there's not really any signs of any raccoons or anything that were messing with our food. So
Yeah, I personally, I think it could only have been one of two things. It would have, if it was a black bear or raccoon, any of that. We had food left out, which you're not supposed to do, especially in bear country. None of our food, nothing was either. It was some people that went very, very deep into the Kiamichi Mountains just to play a prank, or I believe it was a Bigfoot. And if they were driving, there was only one road into where we went, and miles on either side of walking if they wanted to walk. Which that I don't think that's realistic. We would have heard somebody driving in because it's very rough and rugged terrain. So you think squatches can be left or right hand? I don't know. I've never, honestly, Eugene, I've never thought about that. I've got a, okay, RN asked, do you think that eventually the government will acknowledge Bigfoot like they do UFOs now? I don't know. I'm I can see the government being interested in UFOs for obvious security reasons. My thoughts at this point is I don't think the government really cares so much about Bigfoot. Now, again, I could be wrong, but I think if anybody would be wanting to hide evidence of Bigfoot's existence, it would be more the lumber companies because they're the ones that would stand uh, to have to drastically alter some of their practices of like clear cutting and such as that. So I could see the lumber companies would not want the evidence of Sasquatch reality to be out. As far as the government, I I, I don't know why at this point they would really be interested in it themselves. Okay, Brian Gillian says, "Have you ever, Brian? Are you asking Elijah or are you asking me? Uh, have you ever thought that Bigfoot does exist?" Yes, Brian. I'm 100% on that they do exist. James Whitaker, what is the terrain like there? Well, where we're at right now, there's quite a few hills, a lot of forest. Like I say, you go north of us a little, about 4 or 5 miles north of where I'm at right now, you hit the South Canadian River. Um, but they call these mountains down here, but they're really just hills. I mean, these are pretty steep here behind me, but they're not like the Kiamichi Mountains. Kind of the, I guess if you wanted to put them in perspective, this would be kind of the foothills that gradually get uh, taller the further east you go. We're about, as the crow flies, probably about 40, maybe 50 miles from the edge of the Kiamichi. So, yeah, I mean, it's hardwood forest mostly here. There's not much as far as pine trees where we're at. It's mostly a lot of cedars, oak, sycamore, that kind of thing. Very thick, very thick forest here, but it's mostly hardwood forest where we're at right now. Hello, Blue-eyed Northern, another one of our moderators that works out. Let's see. Anybody got anything else they want to ask Elijah while we got him cornered here? Tell you what, ever since Elijah was a little kid, his favorite thing of camp was building the campfire and keeping it going. And I think he hasn't changed a bit. Right, Elijah?
Yeah, I don't think so. Judging by the light on my face.
Yeah. So I tell you, man, it's those that have kids that's grown, y'all know what I'm talking about. They grow up so fast, and I'm just tickled to death that Elijah grew up and he still likes to go do things with me. And I got a daughter named Summer, and she's grown up too, and she's outdoorsy herself, but she had to work tonight, so she couldn't be a part of it. But yeah, both my kids they're outdoorsy. It worked out where Elijah could come take part. Uh, Talking about copperhead. Yeah, what do you want to know about the copperhead? You want to know the scientific name, Agkistrodon contortrix? Which that doesn't mean anything.
That was in response to that same person said I couldn't go to sleep knowing that thing was out there.
Oh yeah, well, if you can't sleep because of that one copperhead, I promise you, uh, we are probably within 50 feet of probably a half dozen of them because they're very thick in this part. Really, it's just paying attention to your surroundings. I would be more concerned if the mountain lion that's been sighted around here were around. Like I said, me and snakes, we got an understanding. I don't step on them; they don't bite me. So, and Elijah, he's grown up with me catching and relocating venomous snakes and stuff all of his life. So But yeah, I don't want to get bit by a copperhead for sure. That would mess up my whole evening.
Well, I mean,
And
I never got much warning. We'd be driving back to the house and see something on the road. You'd pull off to the side and go catch whatever it was.
yeah.
So,
Okay, I got another question here by yeah, Mel. He said my boy is 33. It's crazy how fast they grow. Yeah, Mel. I mean, it seems like from when they're born until they start kindergarten, it seems like those times are kind of slow. But it literally seemed like I took him to kindergarten one day, and I was attending his high school graduation the next. So yeah, it goes by so fast, and yeah, it just really does. Okay, I had another question here. What do you think of Expedition Bigfoot? Um, I just heard an owl. Did you hear that owl, Roger?
mhm.
Um, about like most of the new Bigfoot TV shows, like really, most of them is like really bad reality TV shows. And one thing that gets me is every build up, and then nothing. I don't know. And I'm sure that has to do with the production as well. But yeah, Colossus said it's illegal to kill snakes here in Tennessee unless you're in immediate danger. Most don't care about the law, though. Yeah, and I think, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's the same in Arkansas. Hey, there's Blue Line Bigfoot. Hey, Jake, how you doing, buddy? How's things up in New York? Sharon, Dave, are you aware of abnormal investigations? I don't know his name, but he is in Eastern Oklahoma. Uh, yeah, I'm familiar with him, Sharon. I don't know him personally, and to be honest, I haven't watched a whole lot of his stuff. But yeah, and I'm not sure where he's from. Um, but yeah, I've seen a few of his videos, but I like I said, I don't know him. Uh, let's see, let's see here. I'm getting a lot of questions here. Lodge, if I missed that, help me out here. How far are you from Kiamichi or Canadian River? Canadian River, that's what we used to call the South Canadian River. Now I think they renamed it the Oklahoma River. But from the South Canadian River, I'm standing right now 4 to 5 miles south of it. From the Kiamichi River, I'm about 50 or 60 miles probably. So Dave, my Denton cousins live up by Coweta and Tulsa, Oklahoma area, also over in northern parts of Arkansas. You leave them brown copper colored sticks alone. uh, well, I try to give them the room. You know, I was told that it's like the snake bite kits. Yeah, I don't know. The snake bite kits like you get at Walmart or wherever, where you cut into the flesh of your where the bite is and use the little suction cup. No, from what I understand, not very good.
it's just to help you
Uh,
slow your heart rate down.
yeah, yeah. I don't. Here's the general deal. Um, Squatchy Cowboy, we're camping here all night. I'll stay on this as long as people keep asking questions. I guess it's not quite dark yet, but it's getting there. Let me see, 34. But yeah, the snake it's not so good. But here's the general rule here. The copperhead is the least potent venomous snake we've got in Oklahoma, but where I'm standing, they're the most abundant. Then you got your timber rattler. You don't want to get bit by a timber rattler. Those are um, practically invisible. They're like a copperhead. You won't see them if you about step on them. Timber rattlers not as uh, ill-tempered as the diamondback, but they're just as bad of a venom. Then you got the cottonmouth. Now, the creek I'm on now, I've never seen a cottonmouth here. You go just a little bit south to where I live, and they're pretty thick. And the cottonmouth's got a lot more potent a bite than what a copperhead does. So, yeah, I try to give them the room. See, is my I don't know if my little charger here is packing my phone like it should. There we go. James Whitaker, where at? No, it doesn't. My book is um, the one Kiamichi Bigfoot touches strictly on Bigfoot in Oklahoma. Primarily, pretty much all of it. My investigations, I do share some Oklahoma reports that I received from people that gave me their blessing to include in my book. But yeah, pretty much it's all Oklahoma. As far as how, I don't even know how would go about that. I mean, different people have different theories on that. Like the ones further down south, I've heard some people say they're not quite as big as like the ones up in the Pacific Northwest. But then I've heard from some people say, well, they've seen 7, 8 foot tall ones down in Florida and such of that. I know Kerry Arnold, some of the stuff Bigfoot Odyssey's looked into down there talks about some of them being really big. So I really don't know. Um, I would assume they're like, you know, people, there would be different. I don't know. Are there different races of Sasquatch like there is different races of people? I don't know, but that's a good question. Coral snakes in my area? No, Gary, there are not. If there are any coral snakes in Oklahoma, they would be the eastern coral snake down in the very southeastern tip, and they'd be pretty rare. Now, we do have a mimic of a coral snake down here, which is the milk snake, and they're nocturnal. And unfortunately, there's been some of those killed by people thinking that they are coral snakes, and they're totally harmless. Matter of fact, milk snakes in the same family as the king snake, and they'll eat venomous snakes. So don't want to kill them. How is the wind there, David? It's been very windy all day, but it's kind of settled down uh, right now. Um, shoot. Our water moccasins and rattlesnakes, you never wanted to mess with them. Never swim up to rock ledges at the lakes. You might swim into a water moccasin den, and you don't want to do that. They're just kind of ill-tempered. Blue Line Bigfoot Jake said instead of Qualijah saying Dave and Elijah. Hey, there's my buddy John Hodges. How you doing, John? Hadn't seen you in a while. Hope everything's going well with you. I don't know if y'all can hear it through the phone, but we got a whippoorwill singing to us over there. Yeah, yeah. That must be Elijah. That's your phone picking that up, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Elijah's got a much better phone than I do. I'm a little jealous here. Win ones in Iowa. RN, when do I think I'll write book number 3? I've got a draft of a third book, which is going to include some of the characters from the Shampe, but it's not going to be Bigfoot related. And I've got an idea for another fictional Bigfoot book, and I've also toying with another idea for a non-fictional Bigfoot book. Because I've been I've been investigating this stuff since the mid '90s actively. So I've got a lot more stuff I could write about if I want to. So it's just I'm not spontaneous. If I'm in the mood, I can really write. I'm an artist as well. But if I'm not in the mood to draw, I couldn't draw a circle. But if I'm in the mood, I could paint and draw pretty good. Now, my son Elijah, his degree is in the graphic arts, and he's spontaneous. You can give him an idea, and he can design something for you uh, real quick. But yeah, I do have ideas, and I'm thinking probably in the fall when things start to cool down and get rainy and the days get shorter, I'll buckle down and start writing again. I do enjoy writing. I really enjoy it when people enjoy what I wrote. That encourages me to write more. James is from the Tampa area. Wow. Yeah, I feel I like Whipper Wills too. There's an old legend from up north, or whatever, that whippoorwills were that whippoorwills would gather around the house of a dying person to try to catch the soul as the soul left the body. Y'all ever heard that one? So, yeah, watching cowboy movies live. Um, 10 years. Yeah, Tennessee, Florida Lake. Well, there's quite a few in Oklahoma when you get down in the southeast or eastern part of the state for sure. And you go out west, I mean, around down around Wood, there's several little lakes there, but it's a lot more drier area out in the western part of the state. Um, I don't think I missed any. Anybody else have any questions? I was here pretty quick. We hit the hour mark. I'm gonna probably shut the live feed down so we can um, go film some footage. So y'all be watching for a little documentary. I've got some. I've been filming most of the day, um, or shooting video. It's not film anymore. But me and Elijah, we're gonna fire up some night vision and go out and hopefully
You're getting
have
feedback.
do what?
You're getting feedback.
Okay. I used to listen to the older ladies talk at gatherings. I dare hear them talk about that day. Oh, okay. So that is an old legend. That's interesting. And I tell you something that happened inadvertently. My friend Cornell, who has the No Such Thing podcast, we inadvertently scheduled a live feed at the same time. I just got a text from him a few minutes ago. He said, "Hey, you can come on my show if you want." He said, "I didn't know you were having a show tonight." So um, anyway, we inadvertently did something at the same time. So um, hey, RN, I appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed both the books. Um, and yeah, Blue Eyed Northern, I do enjoy the woods at night, just as long as I don't sit down on a copperhead or something. But yeah, big copperhead. If I found a big copperhead, I'd just fling it outside of camp. But when there's a baby one like that, I'm gonna really pay attention, because if there's one baby, there's probably more. You all have Bassmaster tournaments out in Oklahoma. Old Bassmaster fisherman Jimmy Houston. Yeah, Jimmy Houston lives in Oklahoma. Um, yeah, Eugene, it is, isn't it? Good to see people chatting and not arguing. Um, and I really am not going to argue about the Sasquatch thing, because, uh, in my opinion, we're all just trying to still learn about the subject, and there are no actual Bigfoot experts. Um, so hopefully, we're all just trying to learn a little bit more about this mystery, and it's such a fun mystery, very fun mystery. So yeah, David, fling that copperhead. So anyhow, um, no negative. Yeah, yeah, and I take that as a big compliment. I mean, I've some, and I'm not talking about other, just other Bigfoot live shows and stuff, but I mean, just live chats in general. There can be a lot of negativity, but I think some of that too we can thank our excellent moderators uh, for helping with that too. Filtering out the bots and the trolls and stuff like that, and the rest of us can enjoy our time talking and getting to know each other a little bit, and that just makes for a lot more relaxing time. So uh, I'll say it again. Thank you to Cashew and the Blue Eyed Northern for helping with that as well. Hey, got another question for you, Elijah. Elijah, uh, Sharon.
Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah, it says, Elijah, did you believe in Sasquatch before your father got into the subject? Well, I'll say this before he answers. He's never been alive that I wasn't in this subject. So
Yeah.
I'll let him go with it.
I mean, but even that said, even whenever I was a little kid, I was always interested in like folk legends and monster movies and stuff like that. So
Now, I'll tell y'all a funny story about Elijah. One time when he was like, I bet he was 3. The kid was not afraid of the dark or the woods when he was that young. And I remember we were camping out in this canyon behind my folks' house. And it was later fall, so we wasn't really worried about snakes and stuff then. But Elijah, it's dark. He just starts walking off into the woods. I said, Elijah, where are you going? He said, I'm going to go find a booger. Do you remember that, Elijah?
I don't remember it, but I remember you telling me about it.
Yeah, I mean, you were only like 3 years old, and I had to go like take him by the hand and bring him back into camp. He was just going to walk right out into the woods. So I mean, he comes by it honest. You know, anybody that's watched my channel for very long talk to me. I do a lot of solo camping. Um, I thought I was going to be alone tonight because Elijah, he and I both have seasonal allergies pretty bad, and he took some allergy medicine and got to feeling better, so he came on out. So um, no, I love the woods. Love to get out into the woods. So yeah, better have some snake bite chaps. Well, Harold, what I wear out here, I just got some high topped rubber wading boots. These little copperheads, they can't bite through that anyway. But yeah, snake chaps. If that was in, yeah, that is a good idea. Um, but yeah, you definitely, and yeah, like Cashew said, you guys that's watching here, if you would leave a comment at the end. Just say hi or whatever. I appreciate everybody for taking part in the chat. We've had a pretty good crowd tonight, and like I say, pretty much everybody on here, I recognize your name. So, um, see new comments. So anyway, we're about to hit that hour. So, if anybody has any last minute things they want to ask, now's a good time because we're going to go set up our cameras and tripods and see what we can. Um, and I'm getting texts from other people now. Oh, hey, there's Will Star just showed up. Nice to see you out in the field. Yeah, yeah, Will, it's just nice to be out. If y'all haven't looked, Will Star Mysteries, he's got a neat channel. He's really built it up. He's got some good historical. I really like to watch his take on the historical Bigfoot reports there. So big shout out to Will Star there. Yeah, Mel, body slam that like button like WWE. You don't even have to dive off the top rope to do it. But anyway, yeah, we had a back when well, me and Cornell, we did a dual show called Into the Void a few times, and we hadn't done that again in a while. But we had Will Star on there one time, and and that was a good visit. He had an encounter of his own way back. Yeah, Sharon, we're going to do our best to stay safe and have fun. Ruger Ridge wearing Ruger boots. There you go. Um, okay, well, guys, I'm going to call it a night here. And again, thanks to everybody for taking part. Thanks for Elijah for being on the show with us. And he's down there guarding the campfire. And I'm going to go light this place up. I've got some LED camp lights, and I'm going to light them up so we'll be able to see any copperheads that want to come into camp. Yeah, Tammy, we're gonna make it through the night, unless there's some young lady Sasquatch that's looking for a husband and she runs off with Elijah. I think we'll all be good. But Elijah's got a fiance, so yeah, we're trying to get her to come. Her name's she was she wasn't interested though. So, but they went camping last weekend, so I think she just wanted to sleep in tomorrow. So okay, Elijah, you want to say anything before I shut it down?
Well, good comment from Sharon. Everybody have a happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, for sure. Hope everybody gets to spend some quality time with your family and doing something you really like. So
Don't drink and drive. Be safe. All the normal stuff.
yeah, all that good stuff. Hope everybody has a safe Memorial Day. And again, thanks for taking some time to spend with me and Elijah in our camp. Hope you enjoyed it, and keep on the lookout here in the next few days. Hopefully, I'll have a good documentary video to put up on the YouTube channel. So you guys take care. See you next time.